So I want to show you a thrift store haul. Mary and I went to a couple of thrift stores today to get things to do videos with, or things that are interesting to us, and wanted to show you what I found and some upcoming videos. So starting with these Reader's Digest, October 1969. And this is something I'll do in the future. November 1984. September 1963. Should be some really good ads in here. And February 1969. It's interesting how these 1969 ones all have like these animal scenes on the back, but other years don't. So, found this copy of People from 1988. Thought this might be interesting. This is really cool. This is a Travel Master from 1978, and it's the travel agent's worldwide hotel motel directory. It's like a book for travel agents to book trips all over the world, including Europe and Asia, South America, and it's got all these ads for all the different hotels. MGM Grand Hotel in Reno. It's got maps. It looks like it'll be a really interesting video to do. U.S. News and World Report from 1996. The Princess Diana 1997 People. Princess Diana Newsweek. The Time, and another Newsweek. Apparently this was someone's Princess Diana collection. People, America Unites, 2001. This is Early American Life from 1984. And I'm curious about this magazine and as to what kind of stuff would be in it from the 80s. It may just be mostly a crafty home magazine, but I've never actually come across this, but it's got like old recipes, lots of pictures of old American buildings and decor and so forth. Interesting. Well-known museum reproduction, Tabby Cat. Kitten also available. This is Americana from 1985. Johnny Cash. Sugar and Spice Girls. Porcelain Figurines. Interesting. Another Early American Life. Ad for Nova Scotia. tavern fare at the Barnes Brinton House. Wow, that looks interesting. Cheesecake. That looks like cornbread. This is McCall's Needlework and Crafts from 1982. It may be one, I don't know. Generally, when I pick out magazines from the 80s, I'm looking for ads or things that. This really looks more like a specialized guidebook that was probably like free to subscribers. This is Family Circle. The only other copy of Family Circle I have is one with Clara Bow on the cover from the 1930s. This is from 1985. And these are more along the lines of the ads that can sort of bring back memories or just in general. Because it's harder and harder to find magazines from the 80s. So I find them, I try, like, that old Diet 7-Up can. I try to, like, grab them when I see them because they're going away. The same way when I was a kid and magazines from the 50s were harder and harder to find, and now they're really hard to find. So I like to find these and tell stories about them. Here's another Family Circle. This magazine could save you hundreds of dollar signs. Nutri-Grain cereal. Linda Carter. Johnson Wax Future. Cow Can. Do they still make that? Macaroni and cheddar. Creamier cheese dinner. By Rice-A-Roni. I don't think that exists anymore. Signal mouthwash. Look at Arnold Schwarzenegger and Lonnie Anderson. Fruit and fiber. That clear soap. That was a big fad in the 80s. Bran muffin mix. Chip Chip Hooray. Chocolate chip cake mix. Hellman's mayonnaise. Bear. I remember those, and we would save those tins that the coffee came in, and they were very useful. My mom would put buttons in them, or sewing stuff, or give them to me, and I'd put like coins in them, or whatever. They were very, very handy. I don't think they make them anymore. Sugar-free Dr. Pepper used to come in that blue can. Kind of liked the color of that can. I remember that. I always wanted to drink it, but it tasted terrible because back then diet drinks were just awful. It really wasn't until Coke Zero and Pepsi Max came out that they started improving them. But Tab and the earlier diet drinks from the 80s were just awful. They were salty, bitter, were not good. Unless they were ice cold. As soon as they started warming up, you could taste the fakeness about it. North and South. I think the show was coming out on TV when this is a little excerpt from it. I'm not sure when the show premiered, but it was a big television event. This is how women dressed in the 80s. Figurines. These are little diet. These were very popular, and I used to steal them when my mom had them in the house. She was always very slim, and I don't know why she ate them, but she would get them, and then I would steal them because they tasted so good. Shield. Oodles of noodles. Duncan Hines. Purina Cat Chow. Yeah, I just really... The 80s magazines are great for me to just... Messy Marvin, I remember that was a character they had introduced in the 80s. He was always making a mess, but... I can't remember what the thing... Maybe it was because it was a plastic container, and if he dropped it, it wouldn't break. This is also when plastic containers started coming out. As you can see, like, Jif was still in a glass container. Your salad dressing was still in a glass container. Your Dawn Dish soap was still in a glass container. So plastic was starting to... Now, I mean, pickles are about the only thing that's still in glass now, but at this time... Like, nearly everything was in glass. Your salad, I mean, everything was in a glass container. So if it fell out of the fridge, you make a big mess. Carol syrup, that was a big mess to clean up. Creamy royal cheesecake. Minute Maid lemon juice, you don't see that anymore. Sweet and low on your cereal. Oh, that's disgusting. Hunt's tomato sauce. Green Giant. Diet Delight fruit cocktail. Swiss Miss chocolate pudding. You don't see that anymore. Smuckers, of course, still exists. Twix cookie bars, a family pack. Alka-Seltzer. Before Alka-Seltzer cold medicine, it was just for your stomach. Just for hangovers, pretty much. Rudolph's Donuts. Swiss Miss Pancake. They were trying to expand their business there a lot. Welcome to the land of milk and honey. See, the ads in these are great. It's Family Circle. Now the highlights, Mary's gonna do these. But I just want to say one thing about highlights. That when I was a little kid, might need to be cleaned a little bit. Some of these are a little bit on the gross side. But when I was a kid, I was really dumb. And in the earlier 80s, like maybe 81 or so, when I was still, I could read, but I didn't understand everything I read. I thought this said fun with a porpoise, and I thought there was a dolphin somehow connected to all of this. So every time I picked up a highlights, I was looking for the dolphin or the porpoise. So that's what I thought that said, fun with the porpoise, because I was a fairly dumb kid. I saw this today, and it made me really sad because, of course, last night we found out that Chadwick Boseman had died, and so this is so I'm keeping this as just for my collection, because I really, and actually tonight we're watching Black Panther because it's a movie I really like, and I thought of him as a very nice, a very kind man, and he seemed like he just a very all around decent guy. You never heard anything bad about him. We never even knew he was sick. He kept it a secret. He kept it to himself. Had a lot of strength, and one thing he said that I really liked was when people, the busybodies, there's plenty of them out there. The busybody culture that you find on Twitter and everything. When people were getting all up in arms about whether or not, everyone could wear Black Panther Halloween costumes or not, and Chadwick Boseman said any child can wear it and it's endearing to him, and it doesn't matter who the child is. And that was a brave thing to say in the current very polarizing times we're living in. And I thought that spoke well of him, and he was just a guy who was decent and nice, and it was very sad and kind of shocking, to find out that someone who I thought was incredibly healthy, had passed away so young. So I picked this up, and everywhere I went today, every store we went to, I saw Black Panther stuff, like masks or toys or whatever. It was haunting. Family Circle. This one is from '83. I don't know if I'm gonna do a whole flip through, but this Christmas give them gold. Another thing that was kind of distressing when Chadwick Boseman died last night, and I was looking at the news, and I saw articles about all these people, with even before he'd been gone an hour, were getting on Twitter and just verbally assaulting people for asking about Black Panther 2, and saying, "How dare you? If I hear anyone ask about Black Panther 2, blink, blankety blank blank." And I'm like, number one, Michael Jackson, when he died, people missed his music. Well, Chadwick Boseman was known by most of us for playing that part. That was his craft. That was what he did. There is nothing. It is entirely appropriate to say you miss not being able to see that movie. And the busybodies who get on Twitter and decide to lecture with obscenities people, instead of just be solemn and honor the man, they're just as bad as everything else. There is nothing wrong with missing a movie or the work that this man did. And I just want to say that, because I really don't like our culture today. I really don't like how it has gotten so full of these busybodies. These people who proclaim themselves the authority on how a recently passed person should be honored or spoken about. We should not let these people tell us how to think or tell us what we can say or write. And people have just got to stop backing down to them and start saying, no, I like Chadwick Boseman. I liked him in Black Panther. That's what brought him to me, into my life. And I have a right to say that I'm going to miss this movie. Not just... And you have no right to correct me on how to choose to honor somebody. That's a problem we have nowadays. I call them busybodies. These people who go on Twitter and try to tell everyone else how to think. It's got to stop. Oh, this is All I Want for Christmas is Mattel 1983 wish list. This is pretty cool. Garfield. These are the popular toys in the 80s. Let's just recap here. Barbie, of course, and these were expensive for little girls. Barbies are cheap now, but they were expensive then. Plush Poochie. Smurfs, of course. Looney Tunes, Disney. Like, you see Looney Tunes, Disney, Smurfs all in the same picture. You wouldn't see that now. Castle Grayskull. He-Man action figures. These were hot in the 80s. Hot Wheels. Very cool. That's a very cool little thing here. And I'm sorry about my rant, but maybe we need some rants nowadays, because we are all getting pushed around by what's increasingly becoming a very intolerant, very, I don't know what the word is, but a culture that is very lecturing, very sanctimonious, very hypocritical, that is facilitated by a lot of our social media. And our freedom to say what we want to say, as long as it's not openly offensive against somebody, is increasingly being... Okay, there's one thing about being insulting, directly angry or insulting on the internet. That's one thing, and that shouldn't be done. That's just manners. It's another thing when you say something in all kindness, and then some, for lack of a better word, just jerk goes in there and starts attacking you viciously with cuss words. Now, this didn't happen because I don't ever get on Twitter. But I did read other people just being, assaulted. And I don't like to get into phrase, because I know how many idiots there are out there, and I don't really like wasting my time. That's when every now and then I get like a really, for lack of a better word, a stupid comment on my channel about someone who's offended about something I said or did, or just trying to provoke, and I deal with it the same way every time. I just delete it and I block them. I don't engage with idiots. I don't like these kind of people. They get on behind a keyboard and then they just start going off on other people. It's really a bad part of our culture today. Brock's Peanuts. There's a lot of good stuff in these, I have to admit. This is a Woman's Day from 1982. I think Mary said she wanted to do this one. So I'm just going to show it to you. This is weird. We found Agricultural Bulletin from 1926. Cotton Scene, the Western Railway of Alabama. This is published by the Agricultural Department, Atlanta and West Point Railroad Company, the Western Railway of Alabama, and Georgia Railroad. It's a very old historical magazine. Oh boy. It looks like it got wet at some point and some of the pages are stuck together, which makes me a little bit afraid to open this right now. So, in fact, I can only open it in 2 places. So I'm going to have to do some extra work on this one. I've got this Life Big Band's Music of the Warriors performed by the BBC Orchestra. The discs are completely untouched. And there's also a small insert book that talks about the Warriors and the big band music. Wow, this is a nice find. This is a 8-track tape. That Happy Feeling by Bert Kimpert and his orchestra. I picked this up because I don't play 8-tracks anymore, but I wanted to have one just to remember what they looked like, what they felt like. Because I used to, as a kid, we would pop these in and listen to music. The 8-track because they had up to 8 tracks on it. This has 4 tracks on it. You don't see a lot of these anymore, and the artwork I really like. So it's the very kitschy sort of 60s, 70s artwork. So it's got this 8-track. I saw this photograph, and it is a mother and 2 children. And let's do some detective work and try to figure out what's going on with this picture. There's a photographic studio on the back of it. So that tells me that there was a man out there with a camera taking pictures for cheap, taking snapshots. This was the 1920s or the early 30s, judging by the way everyone's dressed. The boys wearing a sports sweater, and it looks like there's stands behind them or a corral. It's some kind of sporting event, and there was a cameraman out there for the event, and he was doing snaps for families. So this mother took her 2 kids, got the snap, and then it was stamped. And I wonder who these people are. She was a nice looking woman, and the kids look very happy. The kid looks like he's in a funny mood. The sister looks a little bit more restrained. So I thought this was a great photograph. I got this. This is Sandu 1944. This is a Jacksonville Junior College, Jacksonville, Florida. And it is a college yearbook. This is the original Facebook. This is what they originally were picture of the beach. This was 3 years into America's involvement in World War II, so as you can see, some of the instructors are wearing military uniforms. There were 7 graduates and 1 who went off to the military. And then the students who went to the military. And then the students who were still in the school. Some of them are in uniform. I thought this was very interesting. A little snapshot from the Warriors. And like most yearbooks, in the end, there's ads. Royal Crown Cola. So that's sand dune. I might do a more in-depth video of that later. I got this Titanic Voices from the Disaster book. And it is simply accounts of the Titanic written by survivors. And I'm not sure how much this was written, but I'm curious to look at it. It looks very interesting. Lots and lots of pictures. Wow. I got this Dr. Benjamin Stop Baby and Child Care. This was the 50-cent version. And the reason it was cheap was because it was full of ads. And it also had some stuff in the middle. It looks like a little kid was writing on this. Stay Puft. Carol Syrup, Ivory Snow. There's a lot of ads and inserts in this Dr. Spock's book. When I was a kid, Dr. Spock was considered a little bit radical. A lot of people thought that this book was a little too radical on how to raise a baby. And I'm curious as to when this was published. Because this was first spring 1946. So even as a child in the 70s and 80s, I was always kind of raised that was some radical ways to raise a kid. And finally, I got this. This is the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences Emmy Awards. And it's the Emmy Awards copy of The Pacific. And I have no idea how this ended up in Alabama thrift store. But this is the TV series The Pacific. And it's the Emmy viewing copy for the judges of the Emmys. So that's an interesting find, and I have no idea what was doing there. But I like the show, along with Band of Brothers, so I can watch it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this haul. And I'm going to do some videos that are more in-depth about the things I found here. Oh, I didn't show you this. This was a Jonestown book. And it's some grim stuff, but if you watch my channel, you know I am fascinated by disasters and stuff like on the morbid side. So I thought this might be interesting. I don't think I'm going to do a video on it, but I'm going to read up on the event myself to understand it better. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and please rate, comment, subscribe, click the bell icon. All those things help my channel. So if you like my channel, if you like what you watch here, that would all help. So until next time, bye.